preparing. Okay. Finally, we're on. Hello and good afternoon to everyone. How is everybody doing today? Now, if you are watching, and I'm sure it's going to take a little bit of time for you to know that we're live, please do say hi at the comment below. And please allow me to introduce myself once again for those of you who are not familiar with what I do. My name is Abel, and I'm sure you are already following my page, so thank you very much. But my background is in mass communication and broadcast media. And one of my loves is to meet people, meet new people, talk to them, get to know them. And especially during time of COVID where I travel less, I meet less people. So this is something that I love to do as my passion. And my background is as an international presenter, where I have deviated, and I'm still doing that, international presenting, stage MC, voiceovers, but I'm also expanding into communications coaching as well, where I help people with their mass communications, public speaking, human connection, as well as self-communication. So that's enough for me now. And here I would like to introduce my guest for today on the You Are Able series, a lady who I have been trying to connect with for quite a while. But the first series, it didn't work out because I actually took a little break between the first series and the second series. But she is the fourth episode guest on the second series, Lisa Levine. Please give her a round of applause. See, we cannot hear the applauses, you know?
I know. We'll make our own.
We'll make our own. And Lisa, I think it's just much better for you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, so my name is Lisa Levine. I'm an acupuncturist and my abdominal therapist. I teach workshops about women's health and fertility, men's pelvic health, all of the above. Yeah, so basically I spent the last few years just teaching workshops about natural health and taking your health into your own hands, basically.
Right, so like more reproductive health for men and women.
Yeah, for men and women mostly. About 50% of what I do is about fertility, natural fertility, preparing to conceive, that kind of thing. And then the rest is just a mix of everything. A lot of work with people that have scars. That's something that doesn't really get attended to. Digestion, everything.
Now, how did you get into, like, you're based in Got Yao Noi, ใช่ไหมคะ Got Yao Noi?
Got Yao Noi, yeah.
Okay.
I Phuket. I've been here for about 3 years, yeah.
Right, so we're both living in paradise. Yes. And so the title that actually of our talk is being sane and productive in paradise. So I'm going to be asking you about that, you know, how you staying sane and productive in paradise. We are both foreigners, you know, in Thailand. How long have you been living here now in Thailand?
Well, I actually started in Vietnam.
Okay.
And ended up coming here because it was hard to commute to Singapore from Vietnam at the time. So I've been back here probably about 5 years. Maybe a little bit longer. Yeah, maybe a little bit longer. Yeah,
right.
But I really didn't live here for 16 years.
Sorry?
I really didn't live here before. It was just a base. I just traveled from here. I never planned to live here. It wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah. I think a lot of times that happens with people coming to Thailand. You know, they just fall in love with, you know, different areas. Obviously, Thailand is not a small country. I mean, Phuket is the biggest island on Thailand, but Thailand itself is not a small country. So there's so many different varieties of locations and locales that you can live in. So what brought you here to Thailand? And tell me, being an acupuncturist, which is very interesting for me because I have received acupuncture before. How did you get into this kind of career or business or whatever you want to call it?
Oh, long story, but when I was younger, my mom was always into natural therapies. I remember when I was in high school, she had bad sciatic pain, and she took me with her to the acupuncturist, and I was always totally intrigued, right? You know, that's 40 years ago. And then in my early 20s, I got really sick. And it was quite apparent to me that nothing, you know, sounded right that they really wanted me to do. And so I just started exploring natural therapies, Chinese medicine, massage, chiropractic, everything. so I always wanted to study to be an acupuncturist.
Wow.
Years later, I finally did that. And then I realized that I was not the type of person that could be stuck in a doctor's office. And so I branched out and got more interested in the abdominal therapies. And Chinese and Mayan medicine is the same thing. I talk a lot of Chinese medicine. I don't do acupuncture as much anymore because I like to empower people to take their health into their own hands. So we can do that. We can do a lot of that ourselves. Yeah.
I always believe that every one of us are born for a reason. And many of us, not everyone, find our path, or the path comes to us, right? You were born to your mother and she's interested in the more natural or the Eastern way of, holistic healing. And I really feel that you're meant to do what you're meant to do, and in this part of the world, so that you can help the people who, that you attract yourself to. So I think it's really interesting, even though I don't really know much about, I'm Chinese, but I don't know anything about acupuncture, even though I was a recipient of it and I healed from acupuncture. And I totally endorse and believe in Eastern and holistic type of healing rather than only Western. I mean, of course, I still take my Tylenols, which is like, perfect when I have headaches and after COVID and all that stuff. But I still believe that the body heals itself when you allow it to, right? But of course, I'm not going to go into that because I really don't know what I'm talking about. But I want to also ask you, one of the reasons why I started the second series of the You're Able is because I wanted to get in touch with people that I have reached out to before. I talked to you about, a year and a half ago or something like that? Or maybe a year ago?
A while ago, yeah, at least a year.
Yeah. And like I said, it didn't work out, but it's working out now. I wanted to ask the people that I have spoken to in the past, how have you adapted? And, how have you, for example, found clients during this time? Because at the end of the day, we are still part of society. We still need to eat. And I mean, I assume you do not have your own farm where you can just grow everything and then you can, eat fish. We still need to be part of society and make money. And one thing that's very, very interesting for me is, how are you staying afloat during this time? And how are you attracting clients to you?
Yeah, well, it was interesting because I actually would have had a huge year last year. I had 12 trips planned.
Oh, wow.
And then I broke my wrist in the beginning of the year. I took one trip to Singapore, taught a workshop, came back, got off the plane, went to Bangkok Hospital, got my cast off, and came back to the island. And then that was it. I was stuck here. So actually, my wrist hurt so bad for about 6 months that I basically was just in my hammock, like out of it. So I didn't even really know much of what was going on because
6 months?
Living alone, right hand, couldn't use it. It was like,
oh dear.
After that, I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? And I actually started to tutor English online, which has been absolutely fascinating experience because I've talked to people, thousands of people probably from all over the world. So that was a kind of got me through a lot.
How did you get started with the tutoring?
Well, actually, a friend of mine in Phuket's been doing it for years, and she'd always say to me, "Oh, you would really like this." And I was like, "Oh, I'm busy. I'm not going to do that," And then I was like, "Oh, I should try it." And I have to say, I have talked to the imam in the mosque in Dubai. There's a Korean nun that calls me a monk in Brazil. I mean, I've talked to some fascinating people, and it's really given an insight into how people are doing, over this time. And it's also been a good lesson in, how can we be sane and use this time constructively, right? Because a lot of people are really having a hard time. So for myself, and then talking with people, I'm like, okay, we're all in our different situations, but how can we use this time? So that has been one thing that's just been a blessing for me because, there's not many people here. It's a little island over here.
Right.
And the other thing is I've started to do my workshops online, which I really resisted for a long time. But it's really amazing. It's so strange, but amazing at the same time that, you can have women from all over the world and we can really share and come together. And so I've been doing those things, just mostly those two things, writing, studying with another longtime acupuncturist named
Did you say fighting?
Pardon me?
Did you say fighting?
Studying.
Oh. Okay.
Well, fighting with the cats, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think most people, if they're not adapted to change when they were younger, it's harder for them to want to change as adults. I don't have a problem with change because I was forced to move to many, many countries when I was younger. So my adaptability level and flexibility level is very high. But for some people, it's very difficult to change, and we resist change because our minds are so used to a certain program, conditioning. And, we could say we can't travel. Like, I miss traveling so much too. But my world and your world has become so much bigger because we're training online. Yes, we're not physically at a place. We're not enjoying the journey of traveling. We cannot touch people. We cannot feel their energy as much, but we save a lot of time as well. And we can just connect. I can just connect with you, even though I can't hug you. I can just, sawadi you. But I mean, it still works. And it's actually a positive. If you want to look at it as a positive, it's very positive because our world is bigger.
Yeah, and exactly, I think it's exactly what you say. I'm also very used to change, living in different places, and not having like a corporate job and having a salary and really kind of doing things. I think has been a blessing in this situation because we're used to adapting and going with the flow and seeing what's going to happen next. Some of my friends have really had a hard time. For me, it's been a different situation. I'm not going to say it's been easy because after 6 years of building a business and then losing it, that's not fun. But then, you just adapt, like you say, and now you're reaching people that you never would have reached before. And that I find really fascinating. Yeah, you just never.
So this is a question that I want to ask you outside of the question that I originally gave you. And that is, you say you spoke to many, many people, and everybody has their own challenges and difficulties. Are you willing to share? You don't have to say their names, one or two stories of your friends or your connections and what they went through this past year, and maybe even how they adapted?
I'd say the thing I'd like to talk about first is the kids, really. When I first started to tutor, that was really, the first month I was so upset about the kids, because they're having a hard time. So I think that's, I almost wanted to quit because I was really getting so emotionally upset. And then I thought, you know what? Kids need somebody to talk to. They're not going to talk to their parents. If they call me and they talk to me about what's going on, great. And I also think, what a cool thing as a high school kid or anyone really to be able to talk to people from around the world. I think that, especially in this situation, to reach out and talk to people. I talked to a lady and she lost her husband, a few months ago, and she really was devastated. And and I lost my dad, similar but different reason. So we had a really nice connection, and we just were able to talk and share, and that's how she got on the app, because she was lonely. People, I had a really funny experience with a Japanese lady that's about 80 in a nursing home in Japan, and she told me she said, I picked you to talk to because you have white hair. And I was like, what? And she said, really? I'm 80 and I'm still dyeing my hair. And I thought she said she was 60. I couldn't believe I thought I misunderstood her. And it was so cute because we kept talking and I'm thinking, no, I misunderstood what she said. And then I said to her something about where she lives. And she goes, well, I lived in Tokyo for 77 years, but 3 years ago I moved to this home. So I just thought, how cool is that? She's alone. She can just get on this app, practice her English, talk to people. She loves it. She says it's incredible.
So this is let me go back a little bit for the audience. So you're using an app. What is the app called? To teach English? People can reach you anywhere?
So it's an app called Cambly, and it's basically English conversation. So it's for
Cambly.
Cambly.
How do you spell it?
Cambly.
Cambly. Okay.
It's nice. So it's not, most of the people we know here were teaching rather, English for Chinese companies, right?
Right.
That's not happening so much anymore. But this is really for people all over the world. So there's people from Saudi Arabia, from Turkey, from Brazil, from Japan, all over the world, really. Talked to a Russian man yesterday. So it's really kind of this fun thing where the phone rings and you're like, where am I going this time? And who am I going to talk to next? And, it's just it's such a great tool for learning a language, English or any language.
Tutoring. Right? This is tutoring as well. You do get paid for this, for talking to them, or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so
doing it right. You said, how are you surviving? That's how I started.
Yeah, because this is very interesting. This is very interesting for any English speakers who are, watching the show. And if you're looking for more opportunities to find work, like, for example, I became a Thai citizen in 2018, very lucky, before the lockdown, which was March of 2019. And because I became a Thai citizen because my husband is Thai, I can join a network called Fast Work. And it's only for Thai people with the Thai ID card, right? Not the pink one, but the original one, the blue Thai ID card. And it's for freelancers, so I offer my voiceover, because I have a very nice voice as a presenter as well. So I offer I put a profile up there in Fast Work with the help of my husband, because the website is only in Thai. I use Chrome to translate the page so that I can read it without having to worry about asking my husband all the time to bother him. And that's another way for you, it's Cambly. For me, it's Fast Work, which is a platform that helps me to get voiceover jobs without having to leave my house. That's how I'm staying sane and helping me pay for my bills as well, right? Yeah.
For me, it's been nice because I do that. I tutor a few hours a day, and then I'm also working on my projects, converting my classes to online.
Right. Now, you're saying that you are doing more things online, so that's how you're adapting before you do it in person, which is most of what my coaches friends say anyways. Most people are just putting things online. What advice do you have to give to our audience? Because obviously you seem to speak to a lot more people than I did. I mean, I'm talking to people who are based in Singapore or other professional businesswomen. That is the type of people that I'm connecting with. But this is not a show about me. This is a show about you and about what you do. What kind of advice would you give to the audience about, keeping sane, even though you're living in a beautiful paradise like Yanoi?
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky, I got trapped in paradise, but it's a small place. Like, I would not have, like I said, I didn't plan to live here. This was just going to be like a place to hop from.
Right.
But, I think nature, for me, being in nature is really the sanity saver, because I have never sat as much in my entire life. Honestly, I really understand why people have back pain that work in an office now. So I'm really like trying to get out in nature, move. We need to move more. That, I think, because we're all just sitting too much, and that's causing all kinds of issues that people are calling me about. So I think, moving and connecting with people. And like we're saying, if you're not connecting in person, then connect online. We need connection. We're social animals. We need to be with people. And if it's just online, that, I think, is better than nothing. And find your passion in some way. Find a way to, explore your passion, even if you, like us, had to redirect. We're both used to being with people all the time. I was kind of talking about online and going, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I like to be with groups of people.
Right.
And, you didn't have a choice. So we adapted, and then you've got, like I'm saying, now I can teach people from all over the world. One of the workshops we were doing a month or so ago, we had all these young girls that had just had babies, which they would have never been able to come to the workshop before. And they can just sit in their house with their baby. And that was like, me and the other teacher were like, oh, isn't that was just like touched our heart so much, because we're like, oh God, they would have never been able to do this before. And because we're online, they can. And we had a really magical, it was a once a week workshop for 4 weeks. And we had a really magical time.
Yeah, totally. Of course, nobody can see the future, but we have to have faith in whatever that is to come to our lives. And I know some people tend to be more pessimistic, and then some people tend to be more optimistic, depending on how you grew up. But right now is the time for everyone to change, to start with themselves, because you cannot ask other people to change for you. You cannot control, for example, other people's way of thinking. You cannot control other people's mouths and what they say about you. The only thing that you have really control over is your own thinking and your own mouth and your reaction to whatever that is outside of you. So whatever that is to come, just like Lisa said, a lot of them are beautiful, beautiful experiences. If you are willing to step up and rise up to all of the experiences that is to come, that is different from whatever that you're used to, that you had before. And if I may add, Lisa, and please feel free to add as well. I also went through a lot of tough time last year in 2020, because I think that was the trend for most people. We were forced to look deep within ourselves, and if we are not forced to change in a way, because if we're staying like stagnant, that's actually not how life works, right? Nature is not stagnant. It changes all the time. And humans are, of course, in our minds, we like things to be the same. That tends to be the case for, many minds. We like the routine. We like to not take so much risk. We fear change. But it feels like last year was pushing many people to change, whether you change business, change jobs. For me, I have I lost 95% of my events work because there are no events. So I held 2 virtual events as an MC, paid, and then all the other ones were just workshops. And it was great for me to connect with people and meet many people and expand my network and do online workshop, just like you, Lisa, right? Instead of the live one. But it wasn't easy, and life is not meant to be easy. And of course, if you want to know all the details of what I went through, we can have a chat also in the future. But I don't want to bore you with all of my struggles. But yeah, I mean, you have to have that faith to step up and to accept the change. Otherwise, you're just going to go crazy. You cannot be sane anymore, right? And exercise, just like you said.
And I think I always am saying to myself, like, be open to the possibilities.
Right.
Know what's gonna happen. I think for me, in a way, because I'd broken my wrist, I kind of had this transition that was so, at a certain point, I was happy I could get from my bed to the hammock. So when that,
right.
I had a different kind of transition than most. So I think that was kind of a buffer for me. So by the time I was changing the other things, I'd had that in between, and most didn't have that kind of experience.
Right.
But totally, I relate to what you're saying, and I hear my friends, I hear other people. I found it interesting because I haven't had that many of my friends that had experience like us, that we lost all our business. Most of my friends, their life still not much has changed. So they haven't really, well, they're starting to now feel a bit more of what's going on. The other ones lost everything, and it's a bit of a different mindset then. But I think no matter what, change is going to happen. I think you and I are the type of people that thrive off change. Like, I like change. I get bored. I mean, I don't think I've ever stayed in one place this long. I like to go somewhere every month. So it's been a challenge, kind of in the opposite way of just like, okay, how can I just, be here and appreciate, like routine. To be honest, like in the beginning, this sounds so silly, but in the morning I was like, in the beginning, I was like, oh wow, like for me, it was like a ritual, like opening all the windows in the house every morning. Like nice way to like start the day.
Right.
I had that, right? I was always sleeping in a different bed, in a different hotel, so that's been an interesting experience in the sense of the reverse. That feels like no change, but the work part feels like the change. It's interesting.
Right. And what was it that I was just thinking about? My goodness, my brain just went frozen. I was checking the questions on Facebook to see if anybody had any questions for us. When you said buffer, some people did not have much change, right? Because they still kept their jobs, or they're still lucky to have their jobs, or they were so busy to create a new life that they did not think about all the things that had been in the past. They're actually just moving forward, right, in the present moment. And the buffer is actually what forces many people to create that change in their lives. And I just thought that was very interesting, because everybody has different buffers, right? Yours was breaking your wrist. I lost my cousin in Hong Kong to suicide. And my aunt, who I'm very, very close to, that was her buffer, to try to understand herself, because I think it's very hard for people in Hong Kong to let things go, right? Unless you are more wise and you have seen a lot in life. And like, for example, my parents, has nothing related to COVID. My parents lost their house because of the 2008 market. It was. Sometimes it requires those harsh changes in order for us to really reevaluate what is important in our lives. And unfortunately, that's how life is. I changed the most when I suffered the most. And it forced me to think about my patterns, my mental patterns, and my thinking, and how to go beyond my ego. That's why I feel that I'm competent and able to coach people on self-communications as well. I'm sorry, you wanted to say something earlier.
No, I'm not sure what I want to say, but no, I think it's true, right? Things happen. We have to have those. I shouldn't say we have to have, but that's kind of what happens, right? We get sick, somebody passes away, we lose things, and it puts us in a different trajectory, right? I mean,
yes.
When I was in my early 20s, like I said, I was in university. I thought I was going to go to law school. Who was that person? I have no idea now. But nonetheless, it was that illness that changed the trajectory of my life, or, things that I never planned to come to Asia. I certainly never thought I'd be talking about fertility. I can tell you that much. But, things happen, and all of a sudden you're off on another path. And it's always when you look back in retrospect, you go, oh, you connect the dots. When you're in it, you don't see it.
Yeah, that's, I have to say, honestly, I embrace change. I accept it, especially when it's forced upon me. I know that I have to, but I still fear it. Just like I still fear going on a stage when there's, hundreds, thousands of people who I know are going to be staring at me. I have 16 years experience. I still have fear. My heart still pumps really fast. I honestly can say I still fear change of whatever that is to come, because I feel like maybe my life is too stable. And I'm actually a little bit scared, because I feel like, what lesson am I going to be pushed to learn soon? Because it seems that the life lessons come faster than before. I don't know. You have any advice for me for that?
Yeah, I think that's so true. Yeah, they feel like they're coming one after the other in the moment. They're like on speed dial.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of being present to the moment. And for me, that like my sanity, like I'm saying, is nature. Like you see nature changing and the cycles, and that's our life.
Right.
And we start thinking about the past too much, or the future. We get ourselves all like, how can we be? And that's a bit about what I love about the abdominal work that I do, right? We're very disconnected. When we start connecting in, it's sort of an anchor for us. And it kind of helps you kind of be embodied and be in the present, so that you're not stressed out about what's happening here. Like, to me, it's a bit like a meditation, coming back to the present, coming back to the body, which, most of us are up here.
Yeah.
Bringing that down. It started raining here, so it might get noisy.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. This is something that I also remind myself as well, is to be back to your body. And everybody do it different ways. I do it through yoga. Some people do it through gardening. Some people do it through cooking. Some people do it through their work as well. I feel very present when I'm on the stage working, and our minds always stays in the past or the present. It doesn't like to be, it's past and the future, excuse me. It doesn't like to be in the present. And that's something that we need to train our minds to do, which is very, very hard.
Very hard.
Training my mind to do through yoga. Yeah, it's so difficult, but we have to. Yeah.
Everybody finds a different way to do it.
Yes.
I think that's part of the practice, right? Finding what resonates with you. The other thing that I've got really that I found really helpful during this time is a friend of mine that lived in Singapore. When he left, he gave me 2 beautiful Tibetan bowls.
Oh,
he was always into the bowls. He was always trying to get me into it, and I wasn't really, I was doing other things. And the last couple of months, I've really gotten into playing the bowls, and I just find that has been a really amazing experience. Just the power of sound, the vibration, bringing you present.
Right.
Incredible. Yes. Anybody can do that.
Exactly. I just want to say thank you so much for, your time today. I want to keep the show at half an hour, so it's not too long, because I know that everybody has shorter and shorter attention span nowadays. And that's why it's important for us to stay in the present, because the shorter your attention span is, the more suffering you tend to have in life. That's what my experience is anyways. I'm not speaking from a scientific background. But I always want to keep it to about half an hour, just like the TED Talks. They were from 18 minutes. Now they are to 10 to 8 minutes. That's how short they are now. Before it was 18 minutes. Now they're like, okay, we prefer talks that are between 8 to 10 minutes. 5 minutes, even better. So just want to say thank you so much, Lisa.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Lovely talking to you.
Yes, it is very lovely talking. Yeah, lovely talking to you too. And if I know of anyone who needs your expertise, I would definitely point them your way. So Lisa, once again, is a reproductive expert, a fertility and holistic fertility expert. And she's also an acupuncturist as well. So for those of you who are watching or who will be watching on my YouTube channel, please reach out to Lisa. And I will be putting Lisa's descriptions, contact details on the description of my YouTube channel so that you can reach her. And my YouTube channel is Wanamakok, which is my last name. So when you go to my page, you already see my last name. You just type that behind for the YouTube, and then you will find my page there. So once again, thank you, Lisa. Is there anything else, Lisa, that you would like to share before we close?
On the 22nd, I'm starting a 4-week self-care workshop. That'll be 4 hours Friday morning for 4 weeks, and there's still a couple spaces if anybody wants to join, or if they're interested, they can just contact me at Optimal Reproductive Health. If they have any questions, just feel free to contact me. Love to chat with you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to stop the live now on Facebook.